Hello. If you don't believe me, you haven't tried it. What I'm talking about is, say you stroll a street in Manhattan, or you strut a boulevard in Texas. An individual might say, "Good morning." Or, down in Texas, he might say, "Howdy." All you need to do is raise your hand, a cup of something hot in it, and say, "It's been one of those days." And they'll have no idea that what you truly are is somebody who's about to go hunker down in the Goblin Bunker town. Welcome back to Daddy's Bingo. I've got a couple of games. Not a couple, no. No, I've got a lot of games. My Nintendo Switch is at 29%, an auspicious number. The number of stops on the Yamanote line. Oh, you'll notice I've got Tim, Kotaku, Mimsy, and Jay Biffus. Again, we will not be discussing any of the bedtime buddies. Bibbus, Biffus, Mumby, Dabby, Plumpy, Frambino, Hugby, Tenderson. None of them today, because today it's all about this. First of all, how beautiful is it that we get to see a logo for M2? M2, one of the truly great video game organizations. So let's just look at this Virtua Racing title screen right here. I wish we could pause it so that it doesn't go to the attract mode. What inspirational typography. It's perfect. Okay, we don't need to see that again. Ooh. Okay, so get all these out. Just the typography is just beautiful all around. AM2 or M2. This game was made by AM2. M2 is the one who did the port. Sega Ages, they're the best in the business. The gold standard, as it were. Oh, you can change your difficulty. We're gonna put it on normal because that's all. Can't change my car color. Why not? Language, English or Japanese. Oh. Ooh. I kind of want my gas pedal to be... Hold on, what am I going to do? I want... crikey. Okay, shifting is over here. Wait, why can't my shifts be on one... I wish I could just have my shift be on the shoulders and then put my gas and brake on the triggers. Wow. I'm very angry at myself for having just called them the gold standard. God dang it. Motion sensor. Off. R-stick. Arcade. Analog accelerator. Ooh. Steering mode, arcade, or normal. What? Oh, we're gonna need that BGM. Oh, you can just play the music. Hold on, here we go. So I actually really like this, I really like this startup music. Listen to this. Oh, they're not gonna they're not gonna loop it for me? I need it looping. Whatever. Let's chill in the game. What do you think? because it's all about that racing when you're talking about Virtua racing. Oh, I guess I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's do it. First of all, beautiful 60 FPS. 1080p. I believe it's 1080p. Don't quote me on that. Let's see. Okay, oh, sorry, wrong button. I pressed the wrong button, everybody. You gotta make sure you press the right... Oh, there we go. Okay. We're gonna start with Big Forest. Love this game. Alright, I got my pit crew. Love the typography. We're just talking like classic. Oh my god, I have the motion sensors on. Dude! Wait, hold on. Actually, this owns. Okay, I'm driving with the motion sensors, so you're not gonna... Oh, listen, checkpoint. Man. I'm playing with detached Joy-Cons. And I gotta say, this analog steering is... This steering is incredible. I mean, it actually feels pretty good. I don't know. Okay. Maybe I should turn the analog or the motion control steering off. Or maybe I should just learn how to deal with it. I remember when this game first came out. Oh, I can use the left analog stick to recenter it. Okay, I should not be playing with these motion controls on. It interests me sort of a lot. However, I'm gonna turn it off. However, I can't do it. It is not. It's not something for me to learn how to do right now. Anyway, this is Virtua Racing. This is what we got. So when this game first came out in the arcades, that was back when arcades were what a lot of American people, when they discuss their own personal nostalgia for arcades, they're talking about probably just about the time around the release of Virtua Racing. I'm going to lose because of my motion controls experiment. Where am I? God, the music is so cool. It's just this big buffet style. Little 10-second stingers. I remember... Me dead. We got a question about when's the U.S. release. Well, the thing about these games is they do come out in the U.S. However, if I buy the Japanese versions of these games, then when the US version comes out, if I go back to the JSTOR, I will see that I've already purchased the game. So the Japanese versions and the American versions are identical. Interesting. Oh my god. So keep in mind, when this game came out, we didn't know what a goddarn polygon was. We had no goddarn idea. There'd been games like Road Driving and Hard Driving. Those games were trash. They were filthy trash. They were okay. Playing this game on a TV in a cool, wild cockpit with this beautiful frame rate that it had. Man. I'm like trying to drive this like it's a real car, and I keep forgetting that it's Virtua Racing, buddy. It's not any kind of a real car at all. You gotta drive like a moron. We're gonna pass two people. There we go. Just like the Indy 500. Who's been to the Indy 500? Who's been to a F1 race? When this game came out, improbably, on the Sega Genesis, shattering everyone's expectations. It was in this big old honkin' $100 cartridge stuck up out of the top of your Genesis. $100. I remember video game magazines. Those were like websites made out of paper, expressing extreme surprise and a little bit of healthy derision at the concept of a $100 video game. Now, did I ever own it? No. Not in its heyday. I owned it in its old age. I tracked down a copy. Eventually. Stuck it in my Sega Mega Drive. Now, I'd rented it. I rented the Sega Genesis Virtua Racing. Am I seriously going to be denied? Oh my god. I made it to the final lap. I'm in 5th place, and this game is squeezing my bones. I have demonstrated phenomenal growth potential. Yet the game has just denied me the amusement of finishing the final lap. We're going to just pop back in. Getting my pit crew up here. Virtua Racing on the Sega Genesis was remarkable. I rented it at the local B-Buster. That's Blockbuster for anybody who doesn't speak my idiot language. Over at the local B-Buster, we rented this game, and I remember plugging it into the Genesis and my hair just blowing back as soon as I turned the power on. And then I remember, and I'm not going to lie, I remember about 15 minutes later just being like, what, this is it? It's like, there's just 3 tracks, and it looks really good, but I think it doesn't look as good as the arcade one. What I was telling myself. I mean, obviously it didn't look as good as the arcade one. I'm using the D-pad to steer because I don't like the analog sensitivity, but let's actually try to get back into that. V-Racing's all about don't let up on the gas like most of the time. I learned how to drive stick shift. Well, my uncle taught me how to drive stick shift. Uncle George. Good old Uncle George. Guy's hilarious. Taught me how to drive stick shift. And this was the first arcade video game where I drove stick. And felt really sophisticated and cool about it. I mean, I'll admit it was a trip when you're dropping your block party tokens in there. Though once I had it at home... Oh, are you kidding, my punk? From a winner to a loser at the flip of a coin. Snap of some fingers. Einstein turned into an idiot. I got a real brainectomy there by touching one wheel to another. 43-second lap. My mom would kick me in the stomach if she saw me getting the 43-second lap. Yeah, I love playing Virtua Racing in the arcade. But once it was at home, the facade had just kind of slipped off, you know? Kind of just fell right off. I can't believe I'm driving an F1 car on the grass. This ain't Sega Rally. So I had this game at home, right? Just, you know, for the rental period. And I felt good about myself. Just to have it there. To have and to hold. Rubbing is racing, pal. Not in an F1 car, though. Rubbing isn't actually racing in an F1 car. So we're now in first place. I'm sorry that I have not been in first place for this entire stream until now. We're about to experience Virtua Racing's greatest dissonance, which is getting a game over. When you're in first place. Getting a game over in first place microseconds before you get the little bingo button. The daddy's yay. We are not moving on to Bay Bridge until we beat this level. Also, why does my guy always got to take a pit with 5 laps left in the race? We're going to actually win this time. We'll stay off the hated grass. I will make my mother proud. So at the end of the day, it took me a while to learn that Virtua Racing is an actual video game masterpiece. And I'll tell you how I learned. I was working at Sony. The hated grass touches my wheels. My car spins like a born fool. So I was in my mid-20s. I was working at Sony Computer Entertainment Japan. And the Sega Ages release, I believe it was number 28. Virtua Racing Flat Out was released. And I at that time had just purchased a 1080p high-definition television. And I had a Japanese-style component cables for my PS2. And I played the game in ridiculous 60 FPS and 720p on my TV. And I I'd met Yu Suzuki a couple times at this time. And when I played that version of Virtua Racing, I finally realized that apart from just being sort of a thing of technical beauty, representing a massive achievement for the time when it came out, that this game, man, it's just a perfect little work of art. This is a singular aesthetic. Ridiculously singular. Nothing looks like this. I mean, sure, some things do. I can't believe I touched the wall. We're going to try to get into first place and then actually finish the race this time, instead of the disgusting display. Oh my god. So, I think the analog steering is extremely good in this, I say as I spin into the grass. That's going to cost me the entire race. this creeping dread of a Sega arcade game. In fact, this makes it slightly more addictive to play for, say, a teenager in the 1990s. Is I'm looking at the numbers, I'm putting my accountant hat on, and I'm like, there's just no way. I can get into first place, but I can't win the race. I mean, this is an impressive evocation of just the metaphor of death. We like to talk about how profound, for example, Tetris is. Crikey. Look at that. The sign says start and I'm getting finished. How about that? We're going to do it one more time. The profundity of a Tetris. You know what I mean? All you see is your mistakes. All you see is what you left behind. Yet in these Sega arcade games, turning teenagers into tax professionals, crunching numbers, saying, I just don't have enough time right now on this lap. Lap 3, you can know if you're hecked. You think I can drive better than I've ever driven before. And I'll still lose, even if I'm in first place. The history of sports is full of clean little packaged experiences like this. An athlete who knows they're doing better than such and such figure of history, who then just understands what forever means to them. You know what I mean? So I played Virtua Racing flat out on the Sega Ages. The flat out edition. And I got it for free because I worked at Sony. And I got every single PlayStation 2 game for free. If you ever want to just summarily distrust my opinion of any PlayStation 2 era game, there's your perfect reason. I just got them all for free. However, I hated plenty of them, trust me. Trust you me. And what I then did was I tracked down a Sega Mega Drive and a 32X. And I got myself Virtua Racing for 32X. And then you also, obviously, want to get Afterburner and Space Harrier for 32X. Yu Suzuki, he's a man of simple pleasures way back when. Pioneered a lot of graphical techniques, also pioneered this concept of just pandering brazenly to the wishes and dreams. Those gentle little innocent wishes and dreams of a chubby teenage boy like myself was. I want to drive a Ferrari with a girl sitting next to me. I got Rubbing Is Racing right off the track there. Alright, I think I got my Virtua Racing groove back. I was playing this on the sofa earlier and I was doing Bombad well. However, that doesn't translate to playing it under the hot lights. Final lap. Do I have the time to complete the final lap? We're going to find out. So at that point in the PlayStation 2 history cycle, PlayStation 3 being a reality, I was very primed to enjoy the 32X version of Virtua Racing. For whatever reason. You know, we don't really think about this. Sony's talking about their PlayStation 5's going to get rid of loading times and such, right? I did it. It's going to get rid of loading times. You know what I mean? Oh my God, there's me. Oh, Yu Suzuki, director and chief programmer. First of all, look at these outfits. Crikey, mate. Toshihiro Nagoshi as well in there. Real pedigree here. Nagoshi would later go on to be deeply involved in Sega Rally, which, speaking of Sega pioneering graphical presentation techniques. So yeah. God, I want that hat. I bet my buddy Brent Porter wants that hat as well. Oh God, must enter name. Must enter name. Hold on. I should enter Daddy. Except it won't fit. Kaboom! Beautiful. Oh, it's submitting my ranking. So notice this game's fully localized into English if you buy it from the Japanese store. Because that's just stone cold proof. I beat Yu Suzuki's time. I obliterated it. Yu Suzuki, you fool. Let me go to Bay Bridge. Oh wait, hold on. Give me that Bay Bridge. What a joke by my buddy Michael Kerwin. Bay Bridge, is that like the hot girl version of Mount Rushmore? So Bay Bridge is hard. I just immediately switched back to D-pad. I wish I was as excited about anything in my life as the announcer in Virtua Racing is about me getting a time bonus. Oh yeah, this track plays with your eyes a little bit. It rubs them like velvet. So I remember when Daytona USA came out. I was living in Indiana at the time. Daytona's got that more naturalistic aesthetic. And Virtua Racing has this Virtua Fighter style, flat-shaded polygon aesthetic. It wasn't really an aesthetic back then. But it didn't put me to sleep. It was just a handful of games that were pushing this polygon style, and Yu Suzuki prioritized performance when pushing polygons. So which is why we have these games like Virtua Wing War. Does anybody know Wing War? It was the airplane version of this, basically. One of my top games ever. Absolutely love it. So when something like Daytona came out with that more naturalistic look, you had Sonic carved into his own personal Mount Rushmore. The rock textures looked like rocks. There were textures. And that just obliterated any attempt at stylizing polygons. But then when you look at this game and you consider its history and the time it arrived, and again, I sunk dozens of hours into this game in the arcades as a teenager who barely fit in the seat. But I fit. Oh my God. I've touched the hated grass too many times. This game just, it was sort of a flag planted on a hill saying, look what we did with 3D. Look at how good this looks. And they tried so many styles before. Again, Yu Suzuki, genius of technically implementing interesting visual styles, whether by necessity or by some true artist's nature. I'd say a little bit of both. I'd say you can't have one without the other, to be perfectly honest, most days. Yu Suzuki, who had given us billboarded sprites. Did you play Outrun back in the 80s? Anybody here? Holy shnikes, Outrun back in the 80s was a mind blower. Took the top of my skull off, turned a Conair hairdryer all the way up. Here I am again with that death and taxes sensibility pressing down into my skull. I'm getting time bonuses. However, as fast and free as they are, they will not come quickly enough for me to conquer my competitors. Game over. Anybody who played Outrun in the 80s, first of all, you know how to chill. Second of all, That game was a mind ripper. Strutting out, you play it in the arcade, just beefing your brain off. 60 rock solid, ice cold, silky smooth, frothy and frosty FPS. Like an ice cold glass of something that's gonna make you stupid. Just the perfect video game. Once I called it Love the Video Game. I believe I said that about Outrun too. My affectation of the phrase I believe is merely rhetorical. I know that I said that about Outrun 2 and not Outrun 1. Though Outrun 2, we were talking earlier this week here at Kotaku.com. A little impromptu discussion erupted between Jason Schreier and myself about games which contain their predecessors. We were talking about the game Hitman 2, which contains all of Hitman 1. Therefore, I'm talking about the new Hitman, not the vintage Hitman. Your silent assassins and your Agent 47s. The new Hitman. And then I immediately responded, the only other game I could think of that includes its predecessor is White Knight Chronicles 2, which contains White Knight Chronicles 1. Interesting. I'm not sure what the release idea was for that in the US, though I remember when it was coming out in Japan, and I was working again at Sony Computer Entertainment. I was primo primed to like White Knight Chronicles 1. Because, I mean, I'd sort of done a little bit of behind the scenes, big boy, put my big boy pants on, do some work. Kind of not going to say I did anything instrumental. I was there. All in all, we're all just flies on the wall. Welcome back to the Goblin Bunker. White Knight Chronicles 2 contains White Knight Chronicles 1. I remember seeing that and being like, that's weird, I'd love it. And some old man, a geezer, I believe would be the appropriate term to use. It would not be impolite to nominate him a geezer. This geezer said, I don't know. When I said, that's great that it includes all of its previous game in it. He went on. He extrapolated about how it could hurt the sales of the previous one. I'm like, the previous one goes for like $1 used, and he's like, oh, yes, but some customers might want to buy it new. And I'm like, man, no, they don't. Like, they're not going to buy it new. Anyway, Jason Schreier pointed out that Day of the Tentacle also is a sequel that includes its predecessor. And now I realize, spiritually at least, can a sequel be spiritual enough in itself and of itself to constitute a container of its ancestor? I say yes. I say Outrun 2 contains Outrun 1, spiritually. It has captured the soul so perfectly. We're going back to Bay Bridge. Maybe I should turn on 7-speed manual mode. You know what? I'm going to try to not turn on manual mode because I play so much Forza Horizon 4 in manual with my flippers on my Xbox One Elite controller. So that's your daddy's bingo right there. I just mentioned the flippers. That I would feel weird using these little shoulder buttons on the Nintendo Switch controller. I don't like them. I'll stone cold admit I don't like the shoulders on the Switch. Unless it's in handheld mode, in which case I kind of get it. I just don't want to touch those goddamn buttons. I want Nintendo to make a Switch Elite with basically scuff quality parts. Also, I believe I've called this on a stream before. I'm going to call it again right now in case somebody hasn't heard it. PlayStation 5 will have rear paddles on the stock controller. It just will. It'll have 2 of them, not 4. I'm calling it right now. Anybody who ever used to listen to my old podcast, I get people tweeting at me all the time saying, oh, that thing you said back in episode 200 or whatever, it came true. And I'm just like, of course it did. I'm just like, I know what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stupid thing that I'd love to be on the record for having been right about. There will be rear paddles on the stock PlayStation 5 controller. And if there's not, Cerny, I know Cerny's watching. I know he's watching. Cerny, put him on there. Come on. I'm going to try some radical braking techniques. Hold on. Yeah, that was... I meant braking AK, not EAK. Sorry, I might need to turn the 7-speed on in order to actually adequately defeat this map. 6th place. My mom would kick me in the back. You know, when I originally joked about the name Daddy's Bingo, it was because that day I had been talking about how I wanted to turn streams into bingo. And actually have some sort of a dumpster dollar, bunker bucks system of rewarding players for... I have completely... You make one mistake and it's over. You make one mistake and your brain turns off. My brain will not let me win this race. It will let me cross the finish line and receive my perfunctory time bonus. And also, I'm reading the chat, which I shouldn't be doing while playing such a... No! Whatever. Game over. I'll take it. God, Virtua Racing, dude. God, Virtua Racing, dude. So somebody in the chat says, first of all, thanks for distracting me. Like, back buttons? Yeah, buttons on the back. The paddles on the Xbox One Elite controller. First of all, everyone I know who has an Xbox One Elite controller tells me they don't use the paddles. I don't understand why. The paddles are so good. They are phenomenal. Once you start using them, you will instantly open up the configuration menu of a video game and then look at what the bumpers do. And you will just make a profile for the game where you just map the 2 main paddles to the bumpers. They're better than bumpers by about 1,000,000,000%. I wanted to say percent, but that's not a word. Anyway, maybe I'm going to try that 7-speed out after this. Maybe we should just keep driving. Definitely my best performance yet. So before I started this stream, I went downstairs to get myself a cup of coffee. And some, I don't believe it's slanderous for me to say some guy in a suit. There was a guy in a suit. I'm not passing any sort of judgment of him. I know he has more money than me. He's wearing a suit. And it's okay to punch up. Especially when you're writing a movie screenplay. I just got like 14 layers away from what I was going to say. Anyway, he looked at me and he had a cup of coffee in his hand and I had a cup of coffee in my hand. And he said, he was like, Friday, huh? And I said, I'm going to go ahead and reenact it perfectly, if you'd like to hear me reenact it. I held up my coffee and I said, Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, huh? And he goes, oh, tell me about it. Guy had no idea I was about to go put sunglasses on. Sit in a soundproof room. Get sweaty. Play a goddarn video game from 1990, heckin' too. Oh my god, the time bonuses are coming so fast and furious that the musics are starting to... The goal... I remember when I first played this game, I thought, first of all, huge speakers behind your head in that arcade cabinet, that big, ugly plastic arcade cabinet. I remember thinking, is it possible to just drive and have the music be uninterrupted? Just the music just keeps going? Is it possible to get that good? And the answer, insofar as I was able to determine it, was absolutely not, no. Well, that's it. Race is over. That's the end of the race. One little mistake. A video game imbued with the pressing dread of a figure skating competition. You fall once, there's always that guy. Always that guy who's not going to let you get away with it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Acropolis. And I'm going to play it automatic. And then we're going to go back to Bay Bridge. We're going to level up by fighting an opponent stronger than ourselves. So interestingly, race 1 starts you in the pit. Race 2, oh my god, right at the beginning. Well, no resets. It's all about this blue sky. Blue sky very different from the actual sky that's outside right now. Yeah. It's like the goddarn Pirate Bay today in New York City. By which I mean torrents. It's torrential. Wow! Shout me out in the comments if you've ever pirated something. Don't do it, though. My God! Will you please? Race 2 starts you from a standstill, alone, in a starting grid. Race 3 starts you with a bunch of race girls, their umbrellas and bikinis and such. Can't have one without the other. It wasn't until Daytona, and I remember they made a big deal out of this, that the races had a rolling start. Apparently Yu Suzuki really wanted the races to have a rolling start because the man is all about the polishing of friction, keeping the experience nice and smooth. This is a really hard track, but this is like, once you get good enough, or in my case, reacquainted with one's memory enough, this is the only one you're going to want to play. I don't know. I like to throw back a Bay Bridge every now and again. I played like a real trash bag for the first half of this stream, but I'm starting to get my Virtua back. This turn right here, very hard. I touched the grass because I'm playing it too safe. And I just got slingshotted and catapulted up there onto the hill. Definitely got blowed up. I like how this stage is called Acropolis, but it looks like that could just be like a federal prison. Colors here are phenomenal. The green along the side, 2 shades. The blue, also 2 shades. You get that Sega sky blue, that Sonic the Hedgehog beaming down at you. Anytime there's a sky that color, you feel like Sonic the Hedgehog himself is calling you a good boy. A vaguely lavender sea. Not an ocean. No, we're far away from all that trouble. More of a gentle sea. A body of water which benefits from a breeze. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. And so we die. We're going to go ahead and try to do another one of those. I got my face eaten off by the chimpanzee of that race just now. I'm sorry. What is she doing? Did she... What did she want? Does she got beef, bro? Bikini beef. Oh my god! Again, no restarts. We're here to just enjoy the scenery and feel good, because it has been one of those weeks. Oh my crikey! Must chill. You need to not! Rubbing is not racing after all. Rubbing is a slap on the back of the head when you're just about to take a bite of something hot. That banked hairpin has a tendency to throw you up into the sky. Driving like my car's wheels are made of deflated trash bags. And already one knows. This is the part where 13-year-old self would be playing this in the arcade and being like, lap 108, first of all, nice. And I would just know, I'm not going to win. I'm not going to finish the race. Man, he jerked over there just to mess with me, I swear. It's 2019, pal. You don't need my quarters anymore. Oh, this turn sucks. I gotta hit the bank on the outside. I'm just too scared. I gotta really use that dog leg to pull myself down into it. I know exactly what the mechanics are. It's just all this stress, this guilt about how low my time is. I'm not pleasing the excited announcer enough with his proclamations of time bonus. This stage actually has 3 shades of blue. There's this beautiful lavender, there's the sky, and then there's that darker blue from earlier. I would love one more shot at the hairpin. I want to roll that hairpin again. Oops. A little bit of a Ridge Racer action. We're going to come up on the hairpin and not be allowed to try. Just kill me. Just kill me. It's okay. We're going to go back to Acropolis. We're going to do this one more time. So we're going to see if this has leveled me up significantly enough. So that dark blue over there, that Sonic the Hedgehog blue, that's the color of the sky in Hawaii. Not all the time. Just sometimes. Sky like that, you look at it, first time you see tropical island sky with your own eyes. It is incredible to see. And these islands are so tiny. You know? Yet you sit there and you think, how many people from the world could fit here? It's the first thing I thought when I was in Hawaii. I was like, how many of the people on Earth? I completely kludged that turn again. How many people on Earth could fit in this island at the same time before we all become criminally uncomfortable? Because everybody should be here. Nobody should have to be anywhere else. You know what I mean? Yeah, we got several views here. I used to race this view. This was my go-to view for the home version during my rental periods with it. They called them the VR buttons. God, I keep flubbing the dump on that turn. True fans will know that flubbing the dump is the exact opposite of what you want to do in a video game. there was a artist's rendition of how that turn might work. So here's the front bumper view, which I never liked, really, because you don't get to see enough of the topography. Flattens everything out. This is my go-to view. It's my fave. So they actually, on the arcade cabinet, they called them the VR buttons. Virtual reality or virtual racing buttons. And it was such a novel concept at that time that you can change the camera angle in this video game, effectively transforming the graphics. Yeah, just go ahead and kill me. Just go ahead and put the gun to my head right there. I just cannot figure that turn out. I know that long ago I figured it out. However, I know that the memory of the mechanics there does not compose itself in words so much as sensations. No one can tell you how to take that turn. You have to feel it for yourself. That sad funeral. Sad, disgusting funerality. Oh, what? Wait, hold on. We're gonna go ahead with the manual now. Alright, give me that speed, give me that boost, give me that time bonus. Alright. Seven speeds is a little bit much. I'm sorry. It's all about pushing the envelope. That's what speeds are all about. Oh my God, Lord. Crikey. Oh, just like simple usability things. They did not... They do not kick you back into first. What just happened? This did not go very well. My car's all busted. I can actually use the triggers to shift, so it doesn't feel that bad. Well, that feels bad. Okay, hold on. Remember like playing Gran Turismo and the shifts were on the face buttons? That's just wild. Why would you want to drive that way? Okay. I'm gonna... oh, man. The despised grass. We're gonna go back and see if... oh, god darn it. I chose automatic again. We've got someone in the chat asking what is the frame rate on this. Oh, it's 60. They're not gonna put Virtua Racing on the Nintendo Switch and not have it be 60. It's 60 in handheld as well, which impresses me. There's that ridiculous 8-player multiplayer, which is like, come on, buddy. It's funny. But 8 players on a portable Switch. Hilarious gimmick. implemented hilariously well. Wow. Thought I would come back and just nail this race, but there's no nailing. The only nailing that's happening is my forehead. I'm getting a nail driven into my forehead. Someone points out that the arcade version was 30 FPS with heavy pop-in. Well, yeah. They didn't know what they were doing back then. However, anyone who ever played Outrun and Space Harrier, Super Hang-On, and whatnot knows that good old Yu Suzuki is not gonna ever settle for 30 FPS unless he's got a gun to his head, which I assume he did for Virtua Racing. Such a new technology and all that. They're now free here in the future. Someone in the chat asking, I'm not sure if there's a breaking away of video games. Why are we talking about the breaking away of video games? I have a good story about that movie. Someone else in the chat, what are the chances of this receiving a US release? Well, look at the menu. It's in English because my system is in English. If I change my system to Japanese, the menu will be in Japanese. In other words, it's 100% guaranteed. 100% guaranteed. They just schedule stuff differently in the US, I guess. I bought it because I love Virtua Racing. Oh, what? I think my Joy-Con is dead. I think my Joy-Con ran out of batteries. No, it's got the little resyncing bar thing going. That was weird. I'm gonna do that race one more time. Wait, they're back. They're back. My Joy-Con straight died. Let's see if I can actually do this. Let's kill. Okay, it's back. It was my left Joy-Con, weirdly enough. I never had the quote-unquote left Joy-Con problem. Alright. We're gonna try to do this one legit. Though really, this is the thing. This is what Virtua Racing represents as a product. Is it? Don't touch him! It's just, you get to just race this race over and over again. You don't, you know, there's no complaints about campaign or content, cutscenes. The 3 C's. Campaign, content, cutscenes. You just play this game by yourself in the dark like a slob. Hunker over your little Nintendo Switch screen, play it in the dark. Drive a car in your bed. This is all I need for my video games. Good time at the press of a button. I do not need this guy to pass me, though. Don't touch. Rubbing is not racing tonight. I need to get into 4th place this lap or I will not finish the race. Game is tremendously strict. The challenge is just right here in this second race. Nothing to blow your doors off. Really, you gotta fear those collisions. I had this idea for a video game called Video Cars. Does anybody want to hear the story of Video Cars? It's a party-style race game. That's it. I will not finish the race. And that's okay. Video Cars is a party-style race game where if two cars touch each other, they both explode and both players lose. So if you're tailing someone at the end of the race and you just want to ruin their life, and all you want is for them to not win, you hit them and ruin it for both of you. If you know you won't be able to pass them, but you hold out some hope of touching their car with your car, just go for it, buddy. Let player 3 win. You know what I mean? For a while, I was turning over a lot of these game design thought experiments where the game itself can win, or where a player can sacrifice their self so that they lose and the person they're affecting with their action also loses. Yeah, that fourth lap was sweet, but it wasn't sweet enough, because here we are, on the fringe, with the goddarn finish line in sight. What a depression. What's this, though? Let's play a little round of Outrun. Just a little round. Just long enough for me to finish my coffee, am I right? Sega. M2. Man, I met the CEO of M2 a couple of times. The first time I met the CEO of M2, this is a true story. He shook my hand and he said, "You're the guy who made Ziggurat," is what he said. And I was like, wow, yeah. And I was like, actually, I made that with a bunch of other people, but like, that's the game. He's like, that's my favorite mobile game. And then he took his phone out and showed it to me. He had my goddarn video game. So I was like, wow, you're like the coolest dude in the world. How wild is it that you have played my video game? True story. We're going to go for Magical Sound Shower. Ooh. There is no Magical Sound Shower. Oh, here it is. Camino a mi amor.
Get ready.
Give me that outrun. Run me out, bro. So playing this game as a child was ridiculous. It almost killed a goddarn child. Me. With its beauty and its splendor. This is $7.99 on the eShop in case you want Outrun. The song gets to the good part in just enough time for every player to experience it. Oh, that old Sega arcade sound. Outrun is beautiful because what are you outrunning? Right? We're just running out of time and such. Basically, all we do is strive to outrun time until time runs out on us. You know what I mean? Wait, what? Did I just reach a game over before the first stage started? What the crikey? Oh. I'd just been playing a manual. Or a, Sorry, I'm really tired right now. I've been awake a long time. We're gonna go back for the Magical Sound Shower. We're gonna do this. I hadn't shifted up. That's all that happened. Oh, I have to use the shoulders. I was pressing the trigger. I pressed the trigger, and I thought it would have boosted me up. Now those palm trees are whipping at my face. I tell you, after playing with those smooth polygons of V-Race, this is cutting my corneas. I love Outrun. Just can't drive slow. Notice the sky taking up so much. Oh! Is it just me, or does girlfriend look dead every time you crash in this game? It looks like that killed her. It does not look like she survived. We're going into the desert. Bold stylistic choice, bolder than anything. I just died again. Bold stylistic choice to make a video game mostly sky. So wait. We're gonna go ahead and be AAA. That's me. I don't understand. We're gonna go with Camino del Mi Amor. Where is it? Camino del Mi Amor. Okay. Give me this. Ready? Oh God. I really wish I could shift with the goddarn triggers. Not this dumb bumper. Pressing these switch bumpers while the Joy-Cons are detached feels very weird. Oh, Outrun is beautiful. As I was saying, bold stylistic choice to make a game's graphics mostly sky. Where does anyone make that choice anymore these days, right? I can't believe I almost died there. Man, I swear to God, these bumpers don't work. I'm just distrustful of them. Don't touch me. Oh, we did it. Okay. Oh, yeah. What? Don't rip my brain out, bro. Go! Go! You really gotta be nice to the gas pedal in this game. Can't believe some pedestrian car ruined my sweet brain tunnel. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine the Twitch stream is making this look kind of wild. This is a really good song. This is one of the new ones. I died. You know what? You know what? Whatever, man. That was beautiful. Maybe I'll play this portably. This is what I should have. I wish Outrun 2 was real and it hadn't been destroyed by Ferrari licensing. Really, really wish. I really, really, really wish that we could just have Outrun 2 on the Nintendo Switch as well. This music is so good. What do you think of this music? Oh, well, we don't get to listen to it anymore. You know what game owns is Outrun 2019? I mean, it's bad, but it owns. You know what I mean? I still own an Xbox 360 just because it has Outrun 2 in it. Just because. That sounds mean. I'm sorry. I mean, why else would I need an Xbox? It also has Afterburner Climax in it. Oh, there's that music. What do y'all think of this? I suppose it's time for the stream to end. Not until I finish my coffee. Imagine, for the first time in a long time, you've stepped off an airplane onto a tropical island at sunset. And you're dressed well for a traveler. So much so that anyone who saw you on the airplane thought you were going home. Because for you, that's what a vacation is. It's home. When you get back to work and someone says, "How was your vacation?" You ready to work? You don't say, "Heck yeah, dude." Because that's a lie. Because you hate it. All you need is to just be gone. You know what I mean? So imagine you're on that island. And you get in the taxi. And it's taking you towards your airport. And the sun is setting. Imagine this music is playing in that taxi. And the driver doesn't say a word. And then get out of the taxi and the music for some reason stays with you. This is a time and a place away from headphones and portable music players. You show your passport at the front desk. You get your room key. You go upstairs. You step out on the balcony. This song just stays with you the whole time. Noir514, you just subscribed to Twitch Prime. I want to say, I don't get any of that money. And I don't think anyone who works at Kotaku.com does. So, maybe next month, subscribe to somebody who makes their living on this. You know what I mean? We appreciate it nonetheless. Offer me no financial reward as it does. At any rate, I must go. This has been the Goblin Bunker Network. Daddy's Bingo. Wild times. Wild times. I'm not going to start the song again. No, just kidding, I did. Just one more drink. Still haven't finished my coffee. I promised I would finish my coffee. Look at that typography on that setting menu up there. Isn't that beautiful? Nobody does it like M2. Nobody. I gotta say, that coffee is not good. It tastes like the bottom of a coffee monster's shoe. I think perhaps some narc bugged my coffee. I got nano machines swimming around in my stomach. One sip remains. I'm going to go ahead and let it down. Lower it down into the old stomach. Here it comes. And I believe that's all we have time for today on the Goblin Bunker. I was born stupid, however, I will not die hungry. Video games forever. Kotaku.com. Taco Bell Chalupa on sale now. 4 for $1.